The voice in Subliminal wants you to remember the good times. It guides you through happy memories, tries to fill a joy meter, and promises a return to happiness. But if all that's true, why does every corner of Caleb's mind seem to be screaming about someone else? Someone the game seems desperate to make him forget. This could be the story of the sister Caleb can't remember, and the subliminal truth that the game doesn't want you to see. Hi, my name is Stikazi, and before we get into the full-on conspiracy theory, what is the official story that the game Subliminal is telling us? In the psychological horror game Subliminal, we play as Caleb, and we're told we're inside his mind for a little bit of maintenance. A calm, disembodied voice acts as our guide, a supposed therapist, one might say, helping us revisit perfect little pockets of joy. The main goal is to fill up a memory meter by focusing on happy things, which should fix Caleb's mind and bring him back to bliss. The game walks us through these creepy, perfect visions of nostalgic childhood spots. A basement, a water park, an indoor play place. These are allegedly where Caleb's happiest memories happened. But right away, things feel off. The guide's cheerful, almost Stanley Parable-esque voice is completely at odds with the decaying, unstable, and quite terrifying environments. He gives some very specific warnings. He tells us to ignore feelings of loneliness, anxiety, soul-crushing guilt, calling them inconvenient and messy. That's our first huge clue. This isn't about processing trauma. It is a curated experience designed to actively suppress it. The game isn't about remembering. It's about forgetting. The official story starts to crumble almost immediately. As we poke around Caleb's childhood basement, the guide tells us to occupy ourselves. We find a child's bedroom, a space that should be innocent. But in there, among the toys and drawings, is the first piece of evidence the voice wants us to ignore. It is a small chalkboard. Scrawled on it in kids' handwriting are two letters, C and L. Now this doesn't feel random. C is almost certainly Caleb. But who is L? The placement is deliberate. The L is even highlighted. It's a real object in the world, a piece of Caleb's past that survived the mind's maintenance. The initials suggest a close childhood bond, a kind a boy might have with a best friend, or a sibling. It raises a central question to this whole mystery. What if the environment is telling a much darker story about this person that the voice is so desperate to erase? With the possibility of L on the table, we can start taking a look at every creepy detail as breadcrumbs. The case against the Happy Memories program starts to build, and all the clues point toward a single suppressed truth. A major clue is waiting for us regarding the TV in that same basement. As soon as we turn it on, we see a younger Caleb on the floor watching TV, but he's not alone. Right next to him is another young, shadowy figure. They're both laughing, sharing a genuinely happy moment. The game intentionally obscures the second person, making them distorted and hard to make out. It's a happy memory, so it fits the program, but the identity of the person Caleb's with is hidden. Why would a memory of shared laughter be so corrupted? It suggests the trauma isn't the moment itself, but what that person now represents. The joy was real, but the person tied to it is now a source of soul-crushing guilt. The guide is trying to bury it. Let's not forget to mention the green slide in the water parks. As we approach the red slide, we come across a green one, stained with dark reddish liquid. That looks a lot like blood. It's a jarring sight in a place that's meant to be joyous. When we try to approach it, the guide's voice cuts in, forcefully stopping us. He implements conceptual safeguards, physically blocking us from going over and approaching the green slide. The voice isn't just suggesting we go elsewhere, it's forcing us to. It is preventing us from accessing this location, almost certainly tied to a traumatic event. This strongly implies that something horrific happened on that slide. Something this entire program, for lack of a better word, is trying to prevent us from remembering. Next, just listen to the guide's own words. He doesn't just encourage happy thoughts, he wages war on the negative ones. He calls intrusive thoughts little flickers of our imagination that aren't real in any capacity. When you wander into a gloomy part of the water park, he orders you to please immediately disregard whatever feelings cause you to seek this out. This isn't a therapist. It's a system admin trying to quarantine a virus. Not literally, just an analogy. Although it might be literal, I don't know. Anyways, the most telling phrase is his warning about loneliness, anxiety, and soul-crushing guilt. It's incredibly specific and it implies fault. It suggests that Caleb feels responsible for something that happened. If something tragic happened to possibly his sister, Elle, it would perfectly explain this exact emotion the entire program is built to contain. One final piece of evidence is symbolic. The levels are twisted memories of places meant for kids to be safe and happy. But here they're just wrong. They feel claustrophobic, unstable, abandoned. Slides lead to impossible drops, doors loop back on themselves, and the happy atmosphere of the water park is replaced with dread. If the theory is true, and Caleb shared these places with his sister, their corruption takes on a new, tragic meaning. They are no longer places of just happy memories. They are poisoned wells. The trauma of what happened to Elle has retroactively twisted every place they once shared into a nightmare. The voice wants Caleb to see the joy, but his subconscious can't separate it from pain. The very ground he walks on testifies to a memory so bad, it shattered his world. The chalkboard, the shadowy figure, the guide-specific warnings, the corrupted environments aren't just separate, spooky events. They're all pieces of a single, horrifying puzzle. While nothing is officially confirmed, all of these clues do point to a chilling story. Caleb had a sister or friend whose name likely started with L, and something really bad happened. This event is the source of the soul-crushing guilt that broke his mind. The entire therapy is a lie. The voice isn't helping Caleb heal, it's helping him forget. That memory meter isn't tracking healing, it's tracking compliance. Every time we focus on a perfect little pocket of joy, we are actively helping suppress Caleb's trauma. We are helping the guide bury the memory of this other person deeper and deeper. The game gives us a choice: obey the voice and accept a fragile, fake happiness, or defy him and dig for the terrifying truth that's clawing its way out. The demo's multiple endings suggest this conflict between obedience and truth is central to the game. And speaking of clawing our way out, the final, most terrifying piece of evidence that supports this theory is this creature. As you stray from the designated path and explore the darker parts of Caleb's mind, something starts to hunt you. The game calls it a figure that shouldn't exist, a psychologically terrifying event born within your own consciousness. This isn't just a random monster for jump scares. I believe it is the physical manifestation of Caleb's trauma. Think about it. The monster gets more aggressive the more you try to remember and the deeper you dig. It shows up in the most broken, decaying parts of Caleb's mind. This creature is the truth. It is the guilt, the grief. It is the horror of what happened given physical form. The disembodied voice can build his pretty facade, but he can't destroy the truth underneath. That truth is festering, and when Caleb gets too close, it lashes out. The monster is the consequence of remembering. Its existence proves there is something so awful in Caleb's past that his own mind has created a predator to stop him from ever facing it. When you assemble all the clues, the theory finally becomes clear. The C and L on the chalkboard, the laughing shadows, the voice's obsession with avoiding soul-crushing guilt, the corrupted childhood places, the monster, they are all part of a single tragic story. Caleb's mind isn't just a place of forgotten joy. It's a crime scene, and the voice is the cleanup crew. This game is shaping up to be so much more than just a liminal space of horrors. It is a powerful explanation of trauma, guilt, and the dangerous appeal of choosing to forget. It asks a huge question. Is it better to live a painless lie or face a devastating truth? The demo's multiple endings hint that this choice will be ours. Will we help Caleb suppress the memory of this person, or guide him toward the terrifying but necessary act of remembering? But that leaves one final chilling thought. if this theory is true, and the therapies designed to suppress our memories, what happens when we fail? What happens when the full story of Caleb's sister finally breaks free? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Who's this L? Sister? Best friend? Let me know if I missed anything. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next video. Adios.